What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and a brand new trove of information has been released, including purchases tied to the online persona of the our aliases apparently have been discovered, and a purchase history has now been put together, and it's pretty obvious what was going on, and no one noticed. Not that I'm a fan of the government, watching people's purchase history. I'm just saying they know they do this, and for some reason, this guy was like basically tailor-made to get a visit from people in suits. Never did it. No one ever visited him. Just, I guess, another one of the rapid cascading failures that apparently we are told that, is what happened. Now, I am happy that we're seeing some bit of information released here, because especially in this new trove of info, there's some very interesting stuff, including whether or not his parents will be charged. And of course, no, they're not going to be charged. Now, again, unless there's any direct evidence, I don't see why you would charge them. But I do want to point out that a Michigan parents went to prison for something their kid did. I don't know how I feel about all that outside of, hey, if you were giving them the tools and telling them to go do it type thing. But of course, the parents have been just the perfect witnesses, according to the FBI, by the way. I want to give a quick shout out to, I'll keep it short, Coffee Brand Coffee's summer flavors. It's a limited time only thing. We have blackberry cream, hazelnut churro, orange creamsicle, and s'mores. We're roasting it basically daily at this point because you all are buying it so much. So you're never going to find a fresher coffee. If you don't like our limited time summer flavors, we have our top flavors like blueberry cobbler, our unflavored coffees, K-Cups, decaf, double calf, everything you could ever want. Promo code The Quartering to save. It supports the channel directly. Now let's get into this new trove of information. His parents, the biggest misser in history, parents unlikely to face criminal charges, experts say. Pennsylvania parents were not alarmed by son's online purchases related to pew-pews and to chemicals. By the way, his parents reported that he would just do science experiments all the time. There's nothing weird at all about that, right? A 22-year-old kid who still lives at home doing science experiments in the basement. You never thought, hey, maybe I should look in on that, see exactly what's going on? Nah, of course not. I mean, you were busy. Your kid's just a quirky little guy, right? He's just your quirky little dude. Look, again, I get nervous around blaming the parents because it is entirely possible they had no idea, right? My question is, again, I always want to be clear, not that I support this, but we do know our government is always watching our purchases. And if you are purchasing certain things in a certain order, even if you're purchasing from different places, there are systems in place that put you on lists. I mean, they have this in every school basically nowadays. That's how they stopped a potential event here in Wisconsin, up north, which Steven Crowder reported. There are numerous red flags that get raised when you purchase. Not for this guy, though. Not for this guy. It was just yet another event in the rapid cascading failures of the Secret Service and the FBI, I'm told. I mean, we're told. By the way, well, let me get into this. Questions about whether or not the parents of the biggest loser, biggest miss in history could face charges, saying you'd have to prove in some way beyond a reasonable doubt that his parents aided and abetted his ability to plan this event in some way, or knew what he was doing and provided him some means to do it. Well, they did provide the tool he used. I mean, that's pretty obvious. That's what he used, right? Matthew Mangino of whatever some law firm said, that would be difficult to prove. I think that beyond a reasonable doubt. Well, remember the report that when agents showed up at their house, it was cleaned, quote, at least this is someone else's words, not my word, medically cleaned, that there was no garbage or even silverware in the house. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they reported during the congressional hearings. So I would suspect that they had. So who cleaned the house? Who hid the trash? Who got rid of the silverware? Question mark. Was it the parents? The parents did call PD about their kid being quote unquote missing that night. Again, I'm not saying they knew. I'm just saying it sure would be nice if somebody looked into it. That's all I'm saying. It would be neat if someone looked into it. That's all a guy's saying, you know? And we don't just say, oh, there's such a wonderful witness, you know, everything's so great. According to his search history, which has just been released too, he also researched other people who did similar things. In his case, both of his parents were charged and convicted. So he was probably wondering if his parents were going to get charged. Also, he had made 25 purchases related to his pew-pews, and which again, I don't care so much about that. People do that all the time. I mean, 25 is hardly anything. Get your numbers up. Pump those numbers up. However, also 6 chemical precursors, quote, of material used to create things that go boom, that were all found in the subject's home and vehicle. So there's no warning system in place if you're making these purchases. Well, we're told that he used an online alias. I wonder what that will be, if they'll ever release that. Crick's parents also told investigators that he had always been interested in science experiments, so they were used to getting packages addressed to their son at their home. Again, that's not that big a deal. You know, their son, I mean, the way people are nowadays, you know, there are some days that there's 5 or 10 Amazon packages at my door. Like, why would your parents be opening that if it's addressed to your son? Your son's an adult. You're probably not opening it. And even if you did, you saw some chemical in there. You might not even know what it's for. You might not ask questions. Convenient store, yes. I still believe the parents knew at least something. That's what I believe. I'm not saying that's a fact. I'm just saying that's what I believe. And by the way, I'm going to take this time to reference. You know how you have, you know, Hulu and Disney Plus and Netflix, and you have all sorts of apps on your phone to watch content. You have the YouTube app, maybe. If you don't have the Rumble app, make sure you get it after watching this video today. I suspect that videos like this will continue to get suppressed. We've seen the way the mainstream media treated them. After this video, download the Rumble app, follow the quartering. I'm pushing to 250. I'd like to hit 250,000 followers by the end of next month. We know that, you know, certain things can be said in certain places, and I want to be able to say whatever I want to say, and I know I can do it there. And there are other people, other truth tellers there that watch content. If you tried the app a long time ago, try it again. It's been greatly updated. Also, as an afterthought, by the way, as an afternote in this, you know, the parents have been, quote, extremely cooperative, blah, 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 blah. Now, at the very bottom of this, they also write, following the sentencing of the parents, blah, 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 we know that. Also, the FBI on Monday described him as a loner. Well, of course, they're always a loner, right? That's a perfect target for it. I mean, sorry. The CIA said he wasn't an MK Ultra guy, so, I mean, come on. They wouldn't lie. Also that he was highly intelligent. Oh, yeah, I bet that's convenient, too. He defeated the entire Secret Service by himself. Cited his college education and ability. Have you seen these pro-Palestine protesters? They don't look very smart to me, and they're going to colleges that are $80,000 a year. They also said, where is this article? Where is this? One of these articles said, this might be it. Yeah, here it is. Now, also according to his online persona or whatever, his, his alias, he had made online searches related to power plants, other similar events, information on making things that go boom, U.S. elected officials, and the incident of the involving the Slovakian prime minister, where someone tried to take his life earlier in the year. I mean, if you plug these things into a threat detector, I would say that this is pretty high. Now, could you be doing a research paper for college? Sure. But then why are you also buying the chemicals? Why are you also buying all this other stuff? You know, like, again, I don't agree with the United States surveilling its citizens in this manner, but I'm just saying they do. Somebody saw this, right? I would assume. Also, we talked about yesterday these text messages that we talked about where they said he knows you guys are up there. They knew he was a threat. They did nothing. Also, through the congressional hearings, pinpointed an hour-long window which lapses before the event. The text messages clearly show that it went on significantly longer, close to 105 minutes. The release of the text messages, along with photos of the loser and aerial images of key buildings and point all came out yesterday as well, which most of us already saw because we saw it happen live. For months leading up to the rally, he was secretly laying the groundwork for what would evolve into his fateful act. In a series of discoveries, the FBI found that he had carried out internet searches on power plants, other events, homemade boom booms, current top officials and politicians, even of what happened to the Slovakian prime minister. Twice he went to the site before the event and used a drone just 200 yards away from where former president would take the stage, possibly to scope out positions for the attack. I mean, it was a position that you could only dream of. High ground, straight line of sight, unimpeded. We believe the subject made significant efforts to conceal his activities. Additionally, we believe his actions also show careful planning ahead of the campaign rally. Well, I bet you do. As early as spring of last year, crooks began buying components anonymously using encrypted email services based in foreign countries. Again, I'm going to tell you, they're going to use this to go after your 2A and encrypted messaging apps, right? In recent months, he began picking up, buying chemicals. 2 or 3 were functional devices found in his car. He also used encrypted accounts to mask his identity while buying the chemicals. They're going to use this to go after encrypted messaging apps. I assure you. Now the FBI has demanded records from 86 companies with which Cooks had accounts and interviewed more than 450 people, with at least one high-profile conversation still to come. I assume that's, the conversation with Trump. On July 6th, he registered Republican and signed up to attend. So he did this to obfuscate who he was, just like we've always said from the beginning. That day, he looked up the distance from Lee Harvey Oswald, all this kind of stuff. The FBI isn't investigating the security failures, however, although at least 3 congressional committees and the executive branch are trying to do so. I mean, this is so wild to me. This is so wild. By the way, we also know that when he was confronted by an officer who was, for some reason, unarmed, he still had another 30 seconds before he opened fire. In that 30 seconds, you couldn't have sent a radio message saying, get the president off the stage immediately. Couldn't say that. Oh, yeah, they didn't have communication with Secret Service. Also another convenient issue. You know what I mean? Like, this is absolutely nuts. I'm going to stay on this. If you made it to the end of this video, please do leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, subscribe or follow wherever you are. Download the Rumble app. Follow me there. We'll talk to you again real soon.